Well, I hope that gives you a clue to who our guest is just now. We have the amazing Gemma. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm really well, thanks, Aidan. How are you?
Very good today. And thank you for giving up your time to talk to me about your sector of work and how to encourage other young people to get into it. So, what is your name and how people know you?
So I'm Gemma Hunt. I'm a children's TV presenter. I've been working on children's TV for the last 18 years. And most recently, I've been working on CBeebies on the show that you just saw, Swashbuckle.
Thank you. So, could you give the young people a wee insight to what Swashbuckle is, just in case they don't know?
It's a pirate-themed game show where children come on the show to help me find my jewels, which some very pesky pirates have taken from me.
So, how did you get into the sector of work that you do?
I went to university when I was 18 and studied media performance. And whilst I was there, I met an agent and she got me an audition for CBBC. And so then I started working for them back in 2003. And then I've been really enjoying my time working for CBBC. And I worked on CBeebies, they got the show there, I think it was 2013. And we're working on that now for about 7 or 8 years. It's been great fun.
So, what sparked you to realise that you wanted to be a presenter and an actor?
I've always enjoyed working with children and I really enjoy just going out and entertaining. And so I think many people that like kids and like television have always aspired to be a Blue Peter presenter. And I suppose there was an opportunity for me to get involved in TV when I met my agent at university. And I just felt like that was sort of the calling on my life. It was what I was supposed to be doing. And yeah, so I felt like I had to just kind of pursue it because that was where I was meant to be and what I was supposed to do. And I'm so glad that I have done that because I absolutely love it.
How old were you when you first experienced anything related to your job?
I used to be part of the drama group at my church growing up. So I was probably about 15, 16 at the time, and would do drama sketches in the Sunday services and things like that. So that gave me a real taste for performing. And then I joined a local amateur dramatic society in my hometown of Trowbridge, and I got to play the princess in Aladdin for a panto, so I love that. And then throughout my course at school, I was doing expressive arts and performing arts at GCSE and then A-level, and so that gave me opportunities to perform at school as well. So I performed in school shows like Me and My Girl, Little Shop of Horrors, and it's just really fun. So that gave me a real taste for actually doing it, a real hunger for getting involved.
Did you have any jobs before your current one as a presenter and actress? And if so, how did you make the transition?
So I went straight from university, so I didn't actually have any other jobs before getting into TV, apart from just the experience of working in amateur dramatics societies. So that was quite fortunate, I guess, really, to go straight from studying into the actual job that I was training to be in.
So people who are scared to do that, what would you encourage them to push them to do it?
Get as much experience as you can outside of the industry that you want to get into, to kind of give you all the experience that you can, to give you a real taster for doing it. And that way, when you do break into it, you've got a little bit more experience that actually might put you a little bit higher up the league of somebody else going for the same job.
How would you say you are known today then?
Mainly for being a children's TV presenter. However, I have filmed lots of other things too recently. So now I'm one of the presenters on Songs of Praise. And I've also been part of the Alpha Film Series, which is a course about searching some of life's big questions about life, meaning and faith. And that goes out around the world. People have been using that as a resource. So I guess people that are older than preschoolers will recognize me from something very different. So I guess it depends on how old you are as to what you might recognize me from.
So if a young person asked you, "Hi, Gemma, how do I get into presenting, acting?" what would you suggest to them? College, uni, clubs, what would you suggest?
Yeah, all the above, Aidan. I think you're right. I think it's really important to have a good education behind you because you can't always just rely on your natural talent, I think it's good to have good knowledge as well about the industry that you want to get into, but also just in case anything happens to go wrong, and then you have something to fall back on. So you've got your education there, and you can potentially go into other spheres should you need to. But just getting as much experience in the areas that you want to study and want to aspire to work in is the best thing to do. And there are lots of opportunities out there. And I think for television particularly, well, just what we're doing now, we're on a Zoom chat, and actually you're able to just film yourself talking to camera. As long as you are looking into the camera when you're talking, like you're being a presenter. So getting as much experience doing even this, I think is great. I think that lockdown is definitely rising up lots more TV presenters than ever before.
So with so many sectors closed, how would you suggest for people to keep gaining skills or keep their skills that they've got just now?
To keep an eye on what's out there, because you want to stay current. And I think it's good to watch as much as you can and to analyze other people and to see what it is perhaps they're doing that maybe you can adapt into your own performance. And not to be critical of other people doing well either. I think it's really important that we celebrate other people when they succeed. And so in the same way that hopefully when you get your break, you'd like other people to cheer you on. So it's being positive, it's being a cheerleader, it's going out there and seeing what's being made, what's happening, so that you can then stay on top of the game.
How many hours does it take to do your job then?
It depends on the job, to be honest. So sometimes with Swashbuckle, for example, I probably get into the studio for about 7:45 in the morning, and then go into makeup for 8 o'clock for about 45 minutes, and then go into wardrobe and get into costumes, then get down to the studio floor for about 9:15, and then we'd film through until midday, break for lunch for an hour and a half, get makeup and back into costume, and then film again until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that can be quite a long day. You might not get home till about 5. So I think from door to door, I probably leave the house at 7:15 and get back again maybe about 5:30. So it's quite a long day. Then other times, like the film I did for Songs of Praise recently, I didn't have to leave home until 11 o'clock in the morning, and I was back by 6 in the afternoon. So it really just depends on what the job is.
Are you working on any new projects just now that you're allowed to talk about?
So there is a project coming up for CBeebies. I can't say what it is just yet, but it will definitely be out. I think it's actually coming out over the Easter weekend, so look out for that on CBeebies. And there is actually a Songs of Praise episode that I filmed a couple of weeks ago that goes out on BBC One this Sunday afternoon.
For young people to get more of an insight, could you tell us about what the steps are and how it is doing panto?
Panto. So often you have to audition to do a pantomime, and it could be that you're auditioning to be in the ensemble, so in the chorus, like an extra part, or it could be you're auditioning for a main part, and that then will get you involved in the company, and then you'll start rehearsals, and rehearsals tend to take 2 weeks just before the show opens. So people think that if you've got a panto that you're doing over Christmas, you're going to be rehearsing throughout the year. You're not. You don't get the script often until October or November, and then you might not even start rehearsing until the middle of November, and then you are having an intense 2-week period of rehearsals, and then the show opens, it starts. So it happens very quickly. And so you very quickly form a very big family community with the panto company, because you're all together over Christmas for quite an intense period. And then you only get 1 day off a week. So you have to work really long days, really long weeks. And it's exhausting. It's one of the most tiring things that I do every year. But it's great fun. It's good for people to get involved with, because we all really enjoy just celebrating Christmas and doing something a bit fun. And it's always good to go along to pantos when you're able to.
And what is your favourite piece of work you have worked on?
Ooh, I think my favourites are the CBeebies Christmas shows. So last year, because of social distancing rules, we had to film it all on green screen, which is very different. So we kind of get transmitted into this magical animated world, but actually we're just stood in a studio, lots of green walls behind us, and they project it onto it. Like the magic of television and technology. But I love those shows because we get to spend time together, and so many of us work on programs who don't normally get to actually see each other. So when we do get to work on a job together, it's great because when we're not rehearsing, we're just sat around chatting and catching up about our families, what we've been doing that year. So it's really lovely.
The next segment on DYW Newsscape I am calling Your Soul. They are questions inspired from Disney Pixar's Soul and aims to help you at home get through the New Year's lockdown while having fun with family and friends at home on Zoom. So, Gemma, could you please tell me, where are you happy just now?
Where am I happiest? I just think going for a walk. We've got a lovely beach that's near us, and so I love just to walk along the beach, get some fresh air, hear the seagulls, and when it's not too cold, get an ice cream. That's when I'm in my happy.
Yeah. What flavour?
If it's just like a Mr. Whippy, but I don't like the flake because I don't like chocolate, so I just have some like raspberry sauce on it.
Good choice. What are the simplest things that make you feel good just now or cheer you up?
Probably just sitting down with a good book and a cup of tea, just losing myself in something. Or again, just sitting outside. I love being out in nature, just looking out here at the garden. It's just lovely to get outside, and especially now when all the spring flowers are coming through, they're pretty beautiful.
Is there any book you would recommend then?
There are so many books, my goodness. Although I've just finished reading a book that's quite harrowing, actually. It's about the life of Corrie ten Boom and her experiences with the Holocaust in concentration camps. So it's not a light read, but it was a really inspirational book to read that just made me think, wow, we have got such incredible freedoms now. And even in lockdown, we still have got freedoms to be able to at least pop to the shops when we need to and get out and exercise. Whereas she didn't have that, she wasn't able to, and the living conditions that she had in the concentration camps were just horrendous, and the abuse and things that she experienced. And it just made me very grateful, even in this time of lockdown, that we still do have our freedom.
What music are you enjoying just now?
Do you know what I've had on in the radio in the kitchen? Is a 90s radio station, because I was a teenager in the 90s. And so I've been listening to lots of Eternal and Damage and Spice Girls and Take That and all these different bands that I love listening to growing up. I've been listening to them whilst cooking.
Can I ask you, is there any projects or that you're doing at home that you're enjoying just now?
What do I love doing? I think I actually really enjoy cooking. So anything in the kitchen, really. I love baking. I like making fudge. So I make fudge from lots of nice chocolate bars. So mint Aero is one of my favourites. That's something that I really enjoy.
Ooh, good choice. Is there any movies or TV shows that you would recommend that you've been watching?
Well, I think lots of people have been watching Friends because it's now on Netflix, and that's something that I watched when it first came out. And so I'm actually enjoying watching it again. And it's really funny because it's so dated, but it's quite fun to watch things that are a little bit retro.
What's your favourite episode of Friends then?
It's definitely the one, it's the proposal one where Monica proposes to Chandler and she just has all the candles around like every time. Even saying it now, I can feel my whole body just like, oh, it's just very romantic.
Who inspires you to do your job?
My late granddad, he was in a male voice choir, and I remember going to church when I was little with my nanny, and I would watch my granddad up in the choir, and he just had this beautiful peace and joy about him as he performed, and I always thought I wanted to be like that. So I aspire to be like granddad when I perform, to have a real peace and to bring joy to other people.
How would you and others describe yourself?
I hope other people would say that I'm kind, that I'm fun, that I'm generous, that I'm good company. I think my husband might say that sometimes I'm a bit moody, but that's just life. I think I'd like to think that I'm a positive person to be around.
What would you consider to be your greatest achievement?
Probably, oh gosh, that's a good question. I think getting married and having a family, that is pretty epic. So I feel pretty blessed to be able to have done that. Yeah, that's probably it.
Can you please suggest a way for young people to cope during this lockdown?
To be kind to yourself and to spend a little less time on social media looking at everyone else's lives looking ideal and perfect and wonderful, and actually look at the reality of your own life and make the most of what you have got and who you are, and know that you are enough and that you don't have to aspire to be doing all this stuff and being like these people all the time. Just be who you are, because you are fearfully and wonderfully made individually as you are, and that is all you can be.
What have you been doing to cope during lockdown?
All those things, being kind to myself, thinking there are some days when I don't even want to get out of my pajamas, and that's okay. There are other days when I get up and I've achieved 15,000 things by 10 o'clock in the morning, but it's fine. I just think each day, just take each day as it comes. Get out as much as you can, get some fresh air, stretch your legs, enjoy the outside if you're able to, or just sit at a window and look outside and see the world passing by and get some fresh air sat at the window.
Who is the person at CBeebies you've learned the most from?
Probably Chris Jarvis, because he's somebody that I used to watch when I was younger. He was on TV. He's been around for some time, and I thought he was great then. And now that he's a friend and I work alongside him, I love his work ethic. He's really dedicated. He's genuinely very passionate about what he does. And so I always say that I want to be like Chris Jarvis when I grow up.
Who is the person you were most excited to meet at CBeebies when you started?
I guess Justin, who plays Mr. Tumble, because he's so popular. And again, it's just nice to get to know people for who they really are rather than just their TV persona. But again, he's somebody who genuinely adores what he does and he puts his all into it. So I have a great respect for him.
This is all we have time here today on DYW Newsscape with me, your host Aidan. I just want to give another big round of applause thank you to Gemma for giving up her time to give advice to the Moray young people. You've been watching DYW Newsscape with me, your host Aidan, on the DYW Moray YouTube channel. Thank you, stay safe, remember hands, face, space or facts if you live in Scotland like me, and remember we will all be in this together. Thank you.